Welcome. We are a mother-daughter podcast about all things surrogacy. Together, we have brought 8 beautiful babies into this world, and we would like to share through education and knowledge about surrogacy with those who want to educate themselves on the topic. This is Stop.Sit.Surrogate. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen.
Hey, everybody.
We have a beautiful repeat guest today, but I promise for a really good reason. And plus, we just love talking with her. So, do you want to reintroduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. So my name is Victoria Fritz, and I am the founder of Baby Bumps. And so what we do is we are basically a surrogacy concierge service. At least that is what I've landed on in the moment.
I love it. Okay, so
What does that mean?
Baby Bumps, how was Baby Bumps born? Because it was born as something else originally, right?
Exactly. So I can tell you my backstory. So basically, I started out in medicine as a doctor, and I was training in cardiothoracic surgery, so heart and lung surgery. And then while I was in training, I got type 1 diabetes, which is like the type kids usually get. And Ellen, I know you were a nurse, so you were familiar. And
Yeah.
like I was not expecting it at all. And kind of
Wow.
realized going through it that like this isn't going to be safe for me and this isn't going to be safe for patients. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to pass out in the OR from a low blood sugar. And I was like,
Oh,
nobody wants their surgeon to pass out. And I was like, I don't
right.
want that either. So I was like, okay, I'm doing something different. And then it was like a big diagnosis. So it made me think a lot about like what I really wanted to do. And I was like, really, I just want to be a mom. I want to have a family and I want to see my kids and be around them. So I was like, being a surgeon doesn't really isn't
Mm.
conducive to that. So I was like, I'm leaving. I'm like gonna go start this family with my husband. Went to high risk OB and they told me, they're like, hey, look, type 1 diabetics come to us pregnant all the time, like already pregnant. But if you could not do that, that would be awesome. And they were like, there's this risk of like a heart defect. And I knew that from working in heart surgery. And I was like, okay, I don't want to risk that for my child. They were like,
Mm.
do surrogacy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to follow what my doctor tells me. Instead of trying to
Oh.
play doctor for myself, I'm going to do like as I'm told and be a good patient.
Oh.
So like we did IVF, made embryos, and like started, of course, like looking for a surrogate and thinking about that sort of thing. And then like Baby Bumps was born through that, through like personal experience.
Okay.
I have a civilian question. So that's what I always say when there's two like medical field people here because like I am not. So, civilian question is what so baby would ha possibly have a heart defect? Is it because of the insulin that you would be taking?
It's because of the high blood sugar. So the high blood sugars can cause a heart defect, and then the low blood sugars can cause brain damage. And then like as a type 1 diabetic, you're always trying to like ride that wave of the perfect blood sugar, but it's tough. And I was kind of like, I don't want to take this risk on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I came to it. So it's like you're kind of like trying to like always stay perfectly in the middle, kind of like you're on a balancing beam.
Right.
Like, okay, I don't want to be on a balance beam while pregnant.
And then when you're
Yeah,
pregnant, it just the diabetics or the diabetes adds an extra layer to it because now the baby's taking all the nutrients and taking some of the sugars and changing them over, and then you're low again or you're super high. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it gets
Yep.
like crazier and crazier as you like get
Hmm.
farther along in the pregnancy.
yeah, you would
Yeah.
like never be able to keep
Scary.
up, it seems
Yeah.
like.
And it's
Yeah.
scary. I mean, mom and baby can. It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it there. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so now there's something called baby bumps. So what is, so you said like surrogacy concierge, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So like initially when I was starting it, I kind of had this idea that I was like, oh, like what if we did like a dating app for surrogacy and
Mm.
like parents and surrogates can like see each other's profiles and match independently. And what I found is I was like, I think there needs to be like a little bit of like an in between there. Because I was
Mhm.
like, I think like for some people that works really well. And then for some people, I feel like they need like a little bit of a buffer zone. And plus, like I met some of the parents and they were fantastic. And then there were some parents I met who were like not fantastic. And I was like,
Mhm.
look, like I wouldn't want to be your surrogate. So
Mm.
why would I facilitate somebody else becoming your surrogate? So I was like, there
Wow.
needs to be like a little bit of a delineation there and to have like, I think more protection and advocacy on the surrogate side. And then also I kind of like started feeling very strongly that I was like, women are not being compensated fairly for surrogacy. Like the compensation needs to be a lot higher. And I know surrogacy is an expensive process, but I see it as kind of like, look, all these different pieces, like the doctor part is expensive, the legal part is expensive, like the agency, everything is expensive, but the surrogate who's really doing the main show is not really getting paid what she is due. So I was like, okay, we just are going to have to set a standard where our compensation will never be lower than 100K. Because I was just like, you know what, that is what I'm paying my surrogate. I'm not going to go
What?
lower. And I'm like, I would just work more and save more to pay what I feel is more fair. And so that's another big part of what we do, where I'm just like, look, and I always tell like people who are interested in it, I'm like, please like advocate for yourself. And like you could
Yeah.
come to us or like even anywhere else, but like have this standard that you need to be paid fairly for what you're doing. That like what I tell people sometimes, and sorry, I know I'm like going on a monologue here.
No, it's
Go.
okay.
Keep
Okay,
going.
but like what I tell myself or like what I tell others sometimes is I'm like, look, like when I was a doctor, like I like was like working to like save people's lives. It is emotionally demanding, physically demanding, intellectually demanding, and you have to dedicate a lot of your life to it. And being a surrogate is the exact same way. Like you're working 24/7. It is like there's a level of altruism to it, of course, but also it's like it takes a lot of legal work, prep, like intellectual stamina, emotional stamina, and you're saving a life potentially or two. So, like, why should you not be compensated similar to a doctor if
Wow.
you're doing a similar sort of thing, a similar outcome?
I can't even agree with that more. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is my like stump speech.
No, I
Wow.
I love it. So I just want to like be
Huh.
clear on one part of it. So, because you said $100,000, right? And like everybody's always like, "Oh, $100,000! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!" Like, and oftentimes we, a lot of people in the community are like, if they're saying it's $100,000, run because it's really not,
Oh
Right.
right?
yeah, where it's like it's kind of baked in or it's secret. No, this is like 100,000 base comp, and then like the regular things that come along with that. It's like the maternity clothes or like
Okay.
massage and like the insurance and like deductibles, all that kind of stuff is just needs to be in addition to that. And I feel like I'd love for like everyone in the surrogacy community to just kind of like band together a little bit and be like the compensation has to be higher. We won't do this for
Yeah.
$50,000. And I understand that sometimes like parents are in hard positions, but I've noticed that what I've seen sometimes is the parents that don't want to pay as much. It's not necessarily because they can't, it's because they don't value the process as much. And the people who really value it will just work more and save more to pay what they think this process is worth.
Interesting.
I've
So
found.
is 100 grand from first time surrogate versus fourth time surrogate? Like that's the flat, or does it go up at all?
So it goes up. It's like I'm always trying to get it as high as I can because I think the number should be really high. Like, I think the number should be 500.
I love you. You're so
I was
funny.
like, I think the number should be higher. I think it should be 500K, but like we are starting as like we just don't go under
Oh,
100.
cow. Mhm.
And like for I think it depends. It's like a balance. And I'm like always trying to like kind of figure out like how high can this go? Never under 100, but I kind of think it's like for people who like live on the coast, like obviously that is very desirable in surrogacy because a lot of parents are on the coast. They'd love to be local. Like I think that
Right.
contributes people who have been surrogates before. And so there's not like a perfect
Yeah.
like formula to it or like people who have been like labor and delivery nurses and that sort of thing where I'm like all these things factor in to make you like an incredible person that a ton of people would love to have as their surrogate.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore, like your compensation should be quite high.
Wow.
No, yeah, I get that. And I know I'm curious, have you had any backlash?
Yeah.
No, not to my face yet.
Okay, not to your face. Oh my God, I
Not to
love
my
that.
face. I was like, I'm sure maybe some people will be like, that's too high. I think I have heard some people be like, oh, like, because also I'm like, surrogates tend to be people who are so like giving and kind.
Mhm.
I've heard some people be like, oh, I don't want to like charge the parents or put this like burden on them.
Yeah.
Like, that is true. Like I can empathize with that feeling, but I also feel like from the parent side, like I am proud to like provide for the woman carrying my child. I feel like it's my duty and it's something I want to do. And I feel like the parents that are like good or like more caring and like more respectful feel similarly.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so then how does the concierge service work? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically what we do is it's like kind of different than an agency. So it's a little more dynamic where basically like I kind of do like initial interviews. I do like the medical review, we do the psychological review, that sort of thing, like the basic parts, and then also like build out the profile, like the basic like surrogate profile. And then rather than kind of being lumped in with an agency where you potentially can match with any parents that are signed up with this agency, we kind of go around to like people that are like kind of in our trusted network that either run agencies or like other like consulting groups for parents and are like, hey, like, do you think you have a match with parents? Like, could we see like a parent profile? Could you see the surrogate profile? And then we like let people see anonymized profiles and then let them meet if they so wish. And so
Okay.
that way, like if you find a parent, like you can find parents in basically any agency that
Yeah.
within. So it's like if agencies are kind of like, we have parents that are looking for somebody, but we don't necessarily have the right fit. That's kind of like where baby bumps can come in and be like, oh, potentially we have a fit, potentially we don't, but we could kind of see.
Hmm.
And then you have just, I think, more options.
Yeah.
And rather than everyone kind of being in their own little ponds,
Right.
kind of like look around a bit more.
Hmm.
So how do the agencies that you're going to, how do they, I'm coming back to the money.
Yeah.
Because they may already have it in their build, that it's 60 for first time, 75 for second, what have you. And it's a first time surrogate and they're coming in going 100 grand.
Oh yeah, it's like they would only be able to match baby bump surrogates with parents who are like, hey, like I'm willing to pay a lot more for somebody who I really want.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to be like a parent who's kind of like maybe more like me, who's like, hey, if it's like a really great match, like our budget, I mean, is a lot higher. And like we
Okay.
whoever
Okay. So you know that going in. That makes sense. Okay.
they know that, yeah, going in. And then also sometimes it's like we can work with like parents that are like, not subscribed to an agency yet, but then we don't want to do an independent journey just because I was like, that I feel like gets too risky, it gets too
A lot of
messy.
liability.
Like
Yeah.
you guys can always like partner and match together, but then it's like you still need an agency to
Right.
be signed up with. And then the major agency basically gets this like set pairing of kind of like, hey, here's like these parents, the surrogate, they're already pre-arranged and pre-matched, but they need you as the agency to kind of handle the nuts and bolts and logistics of things.
So
I like that.
is that where you stop when you hand
So,
them off to an agency?
so
Okay.
I kind of like stay on board throughout the
Okay.
pregnancy to do like check-ins and see how everything is going. So far, we have not had like any issues come up, which is like
Great.
exciting. So things have been going smoothly, which is
Good.
nice. Like,
Yeah.
pregnancies are going, which is exciting. Um, But yeah, I kind of like stay on to check in and be like, hey, is everything good? Like, do you need anything? Like, is everything rolling smoothly? And so far, that's what the case has been.
So you're checking in with the parents and with
Or
the
no, really with the surrogate. Like, I really only
surrogate.
represent like the surrogate. And like, I definitely like empathize with the parents because I'm in their shoes. But I was like, really, my heart is like on the surrogacy side. And I
Yeah.
think it's sometimes easier to only represent one party because then you
Okay.
don't have a split loyalty. You're kind of
Okay.
like, I represent this party. Like, this is kind of where my heart is. Like, and I think it's a more like simple dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. It's very fascinating. I
It
do like
is.
the aspects a lot where it's like here like as a surrogate, right? Because like as a surrogate, and obviously as an intended parent too, but coming from a surrogate's point of view, when you go with an agency,
Yeah.
these are your parents. Welcome. If they're not here, they're not here. And it's like, but there are
Mhm.
hundreds, thousands, I'm sure, that are
Yeah.
there. So it's like, why are they closed off to me? So I really like that aspect a lot.
Because I'm like, yeah, there are so many parents out there. And I think even from the parent perspective, they might be like, oh, I didn't realize like when I signed up with an agency that like I'm kind of in a more narrow pool too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like this kind of lets people like have a bigger pond to swim in and
Right.
find a match.
And it could also shorten their wait time too.
For
Exactly. Yeah.
sure.
Number
Yeah.
one, because of the increase in the compensation that they're willing to
I
pay, and because they have a broader spectrum to go and find that surrogate.
I think
Wow.
so too. And I also think sometimes maybe it's like maybe more women would be attracted to the profession if they were like appreciated appropriately and then also like compensated appropriately.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
right now it's like the match times are long because there's just like way more parents than there are surrogates. But I'm kind of like, if you pay people like an attractive like compensation, and
Right.
then so it's like you're very like respectful and like you admire what people are doing. People like to do jobs where they're like respected and paid well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the good
exactly. And the thing about compensation that always blows my mind when we talk to people is, somebody in Arkansas, yeah, it's legal in Arkansas, right? But like they get paid, they get a compensation
Yeah.
much less than someone in California. And
Mhm.
to me, it's like you're doing the same thing. I don't understand. So like that's never something that made any sense to me as well.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I feel like that's like a component of it. Like we still like see that and it's like kind of a small scale because it's like I'm really doing it and my husband helps me out with it. So it's still kind of like a cottage business. So I can only like take on so many clients at a time. Otherwise, like
Right.
I get overwhelmed.
Yes.
But like I definitely see where there are like certain factors where like if you're on the coast, like people love that because people are like afraid to travel with a newborn, which I guess I understand. But I also am kind of like, hey, like a good match is a good match. You just have to get on a plane. It'll be okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Those are the tiny things that can be
Exactly.
worked out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm like in the grand scheme of it,
Yeah.
it is okay.
Exactly. If it's a great match, it's just a flight. We can get through it.
Yeah. And previously,
Wow.
like California was one of the main friendly
Yeah,
surrogate states, right? Way back when I did it.
yeah,
And they could justify
yeah.
the increase versus, say, oh, I don't know, Idaho or Tennessee or wherever else it was legal at that point. But it doesn't make sense now because most every single state it's
They're
Like,
catching
allowable.
up.
yeah, it's like basically every state allows surrogacy besides what, like Nebraska and Louisiana, I think are the
Yeah.
only two that are
Well,
still,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
such a shift from 20 years ago because it was literally like four states allowed it and the rest of them didn't. And it was like, whoa. Yeah. So
Oh
the pool was
my
even tinier. Yeah.
gosh.
Crazy.
Wow. No longer a flex to be a surrogate in California. It's fine.
No, not really. Because that's,
Fine.
yeah, well, you
I
got that
still feel like,
insurance, whatever.
yeah, I still feel like it is. Like people love like having their like surrogates like on the coast because so many of the parents are on the coast. So I
Yeah.
think it's still flex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are
Yeah,
you doing international as well, or are you just stateside?
just stateside. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm kind of like, I don't know what's happening on the international market. And I was like, I also
Yeah.
feel people like because I'm not there, like people can be like people are more vulnerable inherently.
Hmm.
And so I was like, I just don't want to take that risk and like put someone in a bad situation or
Sure.
facilitate it. So I'm like, we're just stateside.
Because you have to stay afloat, right? So are
Mhm.
you getting, is yours a referral fee?
Like basically a referral fee.
Okay.
Exactly. And then it
Okay.
like covers like the fee of like doing the psychological screening and the medical screening and like
Okay.
the things because I can do all that.
Right.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Because
Okay.
you
That
do
makes
all that up front.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
okay. That makes
That
sense.
makes
Okay.
total
Like
sense.
yeah, basically kind of like a referral fee.
Okay.
And then this might be a touchy one too. If there are any red flags to you, parents or surrogates, like what would one red flag be? Like what maybe I don't hate to say what have you seen that's come through that you're like, oh gosh, because you had said something in the beginning where there's some parents maybe that
Yeah.
you know that you're not really comfortable with. I mean, that happens in every aspect of life, right?
Yeah. I would like, I've seen, I would say like one of the red flags I've seen, and like this is not me personally seeing it, but it's just something we set as a standard of like, we only do medical based. So like medical need and like, of course, like same sex couples,
Ah,
Okay.
like,
okay.
but
Okay.
like no social surrogacy, as people call it. And I
Yeah.
think like, I've heard like arguments for and against it, but I was like, like most parents are either like in medical need or same-sex couples. So I was like, we're just going to stay in that population.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like if
Okay. That
somebody
makes
is doing
sense.
this for social reasons, that'd be a red flag where I was just kind of like, I've kind of like promised the surrogates I'm working with, like we're not doing that. So I just wouldn't be able to go forward.
There you go.
And then I'd say probably other red flags are like maybe like list of demands. Like there's been
Mm,
like some parents I've met where it's kind of like they are like, they're like I feel like sometimes they feel like it is an employer-employee relationship, but
yeah.
like, it's kind of like an abusive job relationship. And I'm kind of like when I start to get that feeling that they're kind of like, oh, like I feel like I can dictate like diet or
Right.
lifestyle or travel, that sort of thing, where I'm like,
Right.
this is a red flag. I don't know if we'd want to work with you.
Gotcha. No,
And then
that those are
just like send them to somewhere else, like another
yeah.
agency where I was like, you might just be a better fit somewhere else.
Hmm.
Or
No,
just
those are very valid.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
across the board. That's very, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Social surrogacy.
Mm.
Interesting. I've never heard it like be called that. It's always like crazy terms. Hmm?
okay, that's the term I've heard. What have you heard?
Nothing. It's just like the main thing that I get, and like I always hate bringing it up, but it's always like, oh, like that celebrity used it
Oh
because they
yeah.
like were afraid to get pregnant, and it's like, I highly
I highly
unlikely,
doubt that.
but sure, do say whatever you want. Social surrogacy, and now I want to do a podcast on that because that is a trip in itself.
Yeah, I think it's a whole new world. I don't know anyone who's ever done it. I don't
Me
think I've
either.
ever like
That's the
felt the taste
thing.
of it. Like I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever heard of it, but I'm just like I always tell people I'm like, oh, don't worry, that's not what we're doing because people ask that all the time. They're like, oh, is
Mhm.
this like a celebrity thing where they like don't want to be pregnant or they're worried about like, aesthetics or that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh no, actually like plenty of celebrities do this because they also have like medical
Because
needs.
they need to.
Yeah, they need
Yeah.
to. Just like this is like, I mean, being famous will not make you immune from like biology and medicine.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Interesting. My brain's just like going 10 miles a minute. I'm like, I want to know more about this social surrogacy.
Super rare. I've like very like I heard of somebody doing it, but it was like somebody who knew somebody. So maybe it's just a rumor.
I'm sure it's not a
No,
rumor because a
I
lot of agencies also make that like a thing. Like, no, you have to have a
a
medical
medical
need or
condition.
like,
Yeah.
and like a medical need for a same sex is like you don't have a uterus
Good.
or something
That's
like
what I
that.
tell
Right.
people too. They ask me, they're like, "Oh, is like same-sex couples included in medical need?" I'm like, "Yeah, you need a uterus to like have
Yeah.
a baby." So
Yeah,
like it's in there.
You know.
I'm like,
they
that's the
couldn't
number
do
one
it.
requirement.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so how does somebody find you? Are parents finding you? Are surrogates finding you? Like, who is finding you?
So kind of both sides. I would say for surrogates, like we've have a website. It's babybumps.us and there's a place you can apply. And we do it more as kind of like a holistic approach because I don't want it to be something where it's like, oh, you just need to check the check boxes medically. Like you have to be the right age, the right BMI, like all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And like kind of like who you are as a person definitely
Yeah.
matters. And like it's kind of like your experience. Like, have you been a surrogate before? Like, are you in like healthcare? Are you a nurse? Like all this kind of stuff does definitely play in to
Hmm.
like, like how I can like kind of position people as like these incredible candidates. So like I just ask people to submit their resume. Like it's a normal job rather than it being kind of like this like checkbox thing.
Yeah.
And then parents,
Like
it's kind of like word of mouth.
a work, like a work resume or like a
Like
surrogate? Because like I could easily pop out a surrogate resume.
oh my gosh,
Like,
you would have a great surrogate resume, both of you would have like such a
Yeah.
I actually have people send me like sometimes I see where it's been saved as like gestational carrier resume. And
So
it can be
very
either
cool.
one. It can be work resume or gestational carrier resume, but I've seen both.
That's
fine.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
And then
kind of
for parents,
incorporate them both together depending on what I'm applying for.
exactly.
That's
You're gonna
gotta
have them
uplift the surrogate, I think.
too.
Just because of the way you're approaching it. Like it's a
And
job.
because, sorry, but and because you're an intended parent
Yeah.
who is valuing
The
the
surrogate.
surrogate in a way
Right.
that we would all love to be
Yeah.
seen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 So I can imagine a surrogate going to agency and just not finding what they want and then coming across baby bumps dot USA, right?
.us, right?
Dot
Yeah.
US, sorry. And then coming across that and saying, wow, wait a minute, they're gonna look at me as an individual. I might be a year over the cutoff at some agencies, but really? They're gonna look at me. Like to me, way back then, that would have been so eye-opening and so refreshing, like, oh heck yeah, I'm going here because everything else is so cookie cutter,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also easier for me to be like, hey, like these people have like incredible qualifications. Like, hey, this person is a midwife or something. Like, she would be an incredible surrogate. Like, she could deliver her
Right.
own baby, and
Right.
like ideally wouldn't, but like in a
Right.
pinch, she could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
right.
all these like sorts of things. So I'm just like, I feel like that has helped be able to like build out a more like personal like view of things rather than just like, oh, here's somebody who fits the American Society of Reproductive Medicine guidelines.
Right.
Because really it's like all surrogates are people and they have like a complex personality in life and they're not just somebody who fits the guideline.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
also it's like I'd like for people to have kind of like ongoing lifelong relationships. So it's like I feel like
Yeah.
better to have like a personality component with it, or at least to have like a better sense of somebody's life rather than just like a bunch of kind of check boxes of like a basic form and know
Right.
who.
Right.
Yeah. And then for parents, kind of the same way. Because I'm like, oh, I feel like from your side, what do you guys think when you're like seeing these parent profiles? Like I feel like the personality stuff stands out more than kind
It
of like
does.
than the stuff about
That's
like
what you decide on. I mean, that's what I
Yeah.
decided on was personality.
yeah.
That's what I decided on. Like, ooh, I read it and jumped off the page and there we go.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's like it is kind of like we had mentioned in the beginning, right? That when you're picking your match, it is kind of like a dating
Mm.
aspect of it all because it's like, oh, do we have anything in common? Do you appeal to me in any way? Like, are we gonna get along? Like, what's your personality like? It's all based off of that. Not so much looks in this case, but it's based off of like you as like a human.
Yeah.
That's what'll, I mean, my first one, it was just handed to me. My second one I read and I was like, I love you. And then my third one, it was just like
Here you go.
plopped on me. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
So can so you have the parent profiles and the surrogate profiles,
Yeah,
and
sometimes from the parent profiles, like sometimes like because we are like for parents that I know personally, of course I know who they are. So it's like I know all about them, but like for parents sometimes that are with like a consultant or an agency, like if they're kind of in a more like high profile zone, sometimes I'll just get like a Dear Surrogate letter. And that
okay.
usually will like include like the medical background, but I won't know as much about them. But like those will be kind of like private meetings that I won't be a part of. But
Oh,
it's still like for my client, the surrogate, to decide like, hey, like when you met them, did you like them? And it's
oh,
still up to you.
okay.
I feel like rather than just being kind of like assigned a person. Because I feel like,
Yeah,
yeah,
So you're not a part of those meetings.
it's
it's not the
interesting.
private one. So yeah, for like the meetings where it's like a high profile parent, just to like a protect their identity,
Oh.
like I won't see them or meet them. So it's kind of like I won't know who they are.
Okay.
And like there'll be someone on board with that call, like a consultant on those calls with the surrogate and with these parents. So you're not just like solo with them.
Okay.
I won't even know who they are and I won't ask either.
Oh,
Okay.
Like
really?
I'll ask like
Okay.
how are things going? Are things good? But it's like I won't know identities.
Okay.
Interesting. And I would
It,
think that they would allow you because if you're there to be this surrogate's advocate for her journey, then it's like, oh, look, you can confide in me and like, because normally when it is a higher profile or things like that, you can't. I signed an NDA. I couldn't tell anybody who I did mine with. That's just not a thing. Like the people I lived with knew, my mom knew, but I couldn't like express anything to anybody else.
Yeah, I haven't pushed back on that yet of being like, hey, I want to be on there. I guess I was just kind of like, oh, it's an NDA. Like, I guess I should not touch
okay.
on that. I was like, oh, maybe this privacy thing is important. And I was like,
Fair.
okay. Like,
Okay.
That's
that's the
fair.
where I'm like, okay, I don't know this.
Down the line.
Yeah.
Huh.
Down the
Down
line,
the
I was like,
line.
maybe down the line,
Yeah.
or yeah, I was like, as time goes on, I was like, right now, like those situations, like everything's been good. I have not heard of any issues when I've
Okay.
checked in. So I was like, okay, I feel confident now. And I've
Yeah.
like the Dear Surrogate letter, and they're like always so heartfelt, like regardless of who they are. So I'm like, okay, from this like anonymized letter, this feels really good. So
Yeah.
Okay.
good.
Okay.
I
And the
mean,
surrogate feels comfortable with, per se, the consultant and meeting this high profile couple, what have you. Um,
And they go on to like an agency, basically.
okay.
So it's like
Okay.
they're not like doing an independent match. It's
Right.
completely like you're going off into the abyss. There's still an agency there that like
Yes.
this high profile couple is signed with or like being like recommended to.
Okay.
so who decides? So if they're matched with
Mhm.
you, who decides what agency they go to?
There's like a one that's like very trusted by like some of these like parents. And I think they might like have like a few that are kind of like in the know or in the network, and they tend to go to those.
Okay.
And I don't know
Oh,
how that happened. I was like, I don't know how like some agencies became like the like high profile
They
agency.
did though.
they
They did.
did. Yeah, I know a couple of them. I think I
Okay.
know the one you're talking about because that's where a lot of them go. But
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know how it all worked out, but I was like, maybe that's the one. And then they like go there and
Yeah.
seem to have like a good experience. And like I've always had a good experience with them. So it's
Yep.
worked well.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have a good
Very.
reputation out there. Yeah. So it makes sense because if you are high profile, you want it dealt with just a little bit more.
But what
Like,
if you're not high profile? Like what if you're just average Joe, you know? And like how is the agency being decided then?
so I like recommend that same one. So sometimes it'll be like parents are like already even with that agency or
Okay.
those agencies, or there'll be like an agency where they're like, oh, my sister went with them and she really liked them or something.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, okay, like yeah, you can go with like the agency that your sister liked as long as it like was a good experience, and that's totally fine. Or alternatively, I'm working with somebody at an agency who's kind of like, hey, like this couple is signed up with like with us, they're looking for a surrogate, like they like understand the fees and the like the higher compensation, and they really want somebody who has like, maybe this kind of like quality. And if I
Mm.
have a potential match, then I can be like, hey, like
Yeah, that's it.
here is potentially that person. And if they get along well, then like the parents are already with the agency.
Okay.
That agency is very lucky.
Yeah.
I was like for like that age, yeah, that's like kind of how it works. So it's
How
good. I was
funny.
like, I feel like it's easier for me to only have like one client because I was like, I think it's tough for the agencies because you have two people to deal with and two parties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's hard to strike a balance between the two. So I'm like, it's very easy for me to be like, hey, I'm on one side of it and like this is where I stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And a lot of the times I feel like the surrogates definitely need somebody else in their back pocket just because a lot of the times, just speaking from my own experience, I'm not speaking for everyone, but
We know.
it's just sometimes you're called out and you shouldn't be called out in those situations and you feel like the whole world is against you and you have no one to like be like, I hear you. Like, I get that.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's like if you're working, I feel like I am like always like trying to like expand my network, but I'm like if I'm working with people I trust, I feel like the risk is lower of having these
Yes.
situations,
Yeah.
which is another nice thing because I'm kind of like I feel like if you just go out into the world of surrogacy, like you sometimes don't know who you're going to find.
Yeah.
Like some people are great, some people are not so great. Like you just don't really know people's intentions.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with that.
And once you're in the thick of it, you're like, oh no, we shouldn't have
Yeah,
gone there. We shouldn't have used that. And it's like, oh no, what are you going to do now? You're 6 months
you're
in.
already there. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Wow. Very
This is
interesting.
just I'm so excited that it went. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
That it
sad to
morphed
see the
into
initial
this.
idea go,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
fun to see where it has landed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. I was like, the initial idea, I feel like, was like very nice in a very idealistic world.
Yeah.
Where I
Yeah.
was like, oh, everyone's going to get along perfectly and everyone's going
Yeah.
to be
No.
so nice. And then
No.
I met somebody who, like, it was one like intended mom, and she was just like a little tough. And like, she was like a little like vicious even with me. And I was like, oh no, I think I have to change this idea. I was like, I don't think we're going to do a tech platform anymore. Like, I think I'm going to do a consulting service or concierge service or
There
whatever.
you go.
No, I think this is a phenomenal
Yeah.
thing. I really do. I'm very excited for you. Like this is very fresh. And it's like a breath of like fresh air in the
Because we
sense like
never see it from the surrogate side. Like we never see it from
I
it's
think so
yeah.
too. And I think if people have better experiences, more people will want to get
Hmm.
to it. And I also think I think sometimes from the parent side, like people don't know the relationship they're supposed to have and the
yeah.
relationship they're supposed to emulate. And I
Yeah.
was like, I've like seriously thought, I was like, oh, there should be a Netflix show on surrogacy.
There should be.
100%. Victoria, I want to watch it.
I know that's why I was like, we should be on it. It would be so good. But I was like,
Yep.
do it from like, have you ever seen Millionaire Matchmaker? It was
Yes,
Yes.
I'm obsessed.
Wouldn't it be so good? It would be just like that. And I was
Oh my God.
like go through the process of like, hey, like finding people wanting to be surrogates,
Yeah.
and then going through like the medical screen, psychological screen, profile,
Yes.
looking for the parents. Like,
You should get in touch with TLC.
I know, right?
Okay.
I know it's Chelsea. I was also like, Netflix is in San Jose. That is not that far of a drive from San Francisco. I've thought before, I was like, how can I get in touch with them?
No, for real.
Yeah, and like right now, I'm just like, oh, I like, and also I have so much fun with it. So I'm like, it would be such a good show, wouldn't
It
It
would
it?
would be
be.
such a good
Oh yeah.
show.
And then at the end, it's kind of like, I think we just said it's like, oh, like kind of like My Baby Story thing.
Right. I
Right.
was just gonna say that. It's just like my baby story, my surrogacy story. There you go.
Exactly. And also, I think that would be good for people because I think sometimes people don't realize, like, hey, this is the relationship you're supposed to have because people get confused. They're like, oh, is this a work relationship? Is this like, what is this
Right.
supposed to be? And like,
Mm.
what I tell people is,
Temporary.
I feel like it should be kind of like a sister-in-law relationship.
Mm.
Like you're like personal and close, but like you can't take things out of like her closet without asking her. Like you can't just go like steal, like you can't do what you
Right.
do like a normal sister, like your own
Yeah.
sister, you can go steal her stuff out of her
Okay.
closet. But like maybe with your sister-in-law, you should ask before you like borrow her lipstick, that sort of
Right.
thing. There
There
should
you
Yeah.
be
go.
some boundary, but you can still be like yourself and an open person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes people just need to see it on TV. They just need it like mirrored for
I
them.
do. Do you know how amazing it would be? It would be so wonderful. I like dream of it all the time because I'm like, come on. If the secret lives of Mormon wives can
Oh,
exist,
come on.
then we
Yeah,
Yeah.
need
like
we need some weird swinger surrogacy story or something to get it
Yep.
promoted and then be like, give us a show.
yeah, that's what I think too. I've thought about
Seriously.
that. I'm just like, it's also, I was like in surrogacy, there's so many like angels, but there's also so many villains. It's like the saints and sinners thing from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
100%.
It's like there could totally be a villain in this season of like the surrogacy tale, the
There
surrogacy.
would always there would always be drama. Like I always kick myself for not documenting my third journey more because I'm like, this
Like
would have
it's
made amazing television. Like
Mm.
everybody else would have enjoyed it while I'm like there
Yeah.
like crying every day. But like the drama, woo, drama sells.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like you'd be crying in all your interviews.
Yeah, for
Aw.
But
real.
like,
But then, I get the empathy card and then, yeah, like, no, I'm like manifesting that this exists one day because how fun, but also to also just destigmatize
I
so
think
many different things.
Yep.
Like, see the whole process. We aren't just like, we're going to be a surrogate and the next day we get like
no,
pregnant. That's
Right.
no.
not it. Like, we're not crazy people.
Also to do your thing. Like I feel like people don't realize, like I'm like, you dedicate like 2 years of your life to it. Because
Yep.
like a pregnancy takes 40 weeks. And also this pregnancy has like a lead up to it. It has like homework before it. It's got like the
Yeah.
hormones and like the injections and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then there's, like legal before that. And then there's
Yeah.
the before that. And then there's like the like evaluation and the medical psych and all this kind of thing. Or it's a long process. And then for the
Yeah.
parents too, it's like we do like the medical and psych and like all this kind of stuff too. I was like, there's a whole storyline to it.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody plays a really big part. And then, in 23 years, you could be going to like your triplets graduation or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, it doesn't end because I was like, you still know each other.
I just
Yeah.
I
No.
just I just went to one of my triplets college
Oh
graduation.
my gosh, that's so
Uh-huh.
crazy.
So nuts all.
So freaking
Was it in
cool.
Australia?
No,
Oh, no, no,
mine.
no.
It was
Oh,
California.
oh, got it.
Um,
Okay.
hers
I'm the
Australia.
Australia one. I'm the international one.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. All
Okay.
mine are stateside. Yeah, all
Got it.
mine.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was super fun.
It would be
Those,
so cool.
yeah, because I feel like people don't understand like what it is. I feel like a lot of times people think it's like very scary too. And I was like, hey, look, there are some people that could totally be scary in this industry, but for the
Hmm.
most part, it is not scary. And actually,
Right.
it's all normal people involved. Like for the most part, like people can
Yeah.
get crazy at any point. That's why there'd be plenty of drama on the show that we're
Yeah. Yeah.
manifesting. But like normal people are surrogates, normal people are intended parents. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the same way it's like normal people are the surrogacy attorneys and the surrogacy doctors. Like I feel like the stigma is there, but it'll be broken one
Yeah.
day.
And
I'm hoping.
if people had something tangible to look and see that they were real people,
So
maybe people who were on the fence or people like, no, I couldn't do. I'm talking both intended parents
yeah,
and surrogates would like,
Skyrocket.
yes,
that's why
yes, I can do this. Yes, this is an option for me. Like, yeah,
yeah, no,
wow,
I totally
wow.
get that.
I know we
I
went off derail, but it's
Oh no, like I think that too. I'm also like, I remember being in medicine, like for the longest time when I was in med school, like I thought I was going to be a breast cancer surgeon. That's what I wanted to do forever.
oh,
And then I
okay,
ended up switching like right at the end, but like wanted to do that forever. But I remember like specifically seeing this woman who had had breast cancer young and she was on medication still to try to like prevent a
yeah,
recurrence. And like she wanted to have another child and it was like, okay, let's come off this medication. And I was just kind of thinking like at the time I was like, oh, this is so risky for her. And the concept of surrogacy never came up just because we never thought about it. And I
wow,
was just like, if people I think knew about it as an option for her, then they would maybe turn to it if they knew like, hey, this is not like as weird as you think it is. Like we're all fairly normal. Like
hmm,
Yeah.
people involved, like it is a viable option. It is a safe option. Like there's not as many like risk involved as you might think. Like I think a lot of people would benefit from it.
I do too.
Also, I think there's a lot of women out there that like do want to be surrogates, but they're just like, oh, I'm scared of that industry. I don't know how that would be.
Hmm. Well,
I
they've heard all the bad and none of the good. Yeah.
Exactly. And because I talk with women all the time, like applying with baby bumps that are like, oh, like I really enjoyed being pregnant. I felt great. Like I think like pregnancy and birth is amazing. Like I'd like to do it again, but I don't want another child.
Hmm.
But like I want to feel safe. And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, like I feel like people saw the industry more for what it is, that it's not as scary as you might think.
Right.
Way more people would do it on the parent and surrogate side.
Yeah. Agreed.
Sorry, that's my tangent.
No,
No,
agreed. Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. I'm like literally dreaming. I dream of this all the time. Like I do.
I know. I keep thinking, I'm like, we would be so good on it. I was like, we should do it.
Manifesting.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I mean,
need
they do
it.
adoption stories where these old people go and not old, but older
Yeah,
56-year-old people are looking for their adoptive the parents, their birth parents.
yeah,
That's still
exactly.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I also am kind of like, oh, I've noticed like, I feel like, if people saw like what the relationships could look like,
right,
it's not true for every relationship, but if it was kind of like, oh, here's a show and like, here's like this relationship and this is a good one, and here's a relationship and this is a bad one, then
right.
people would know what they're supposed to do and like what they're
Yeah.
supposed to emulate. Kind of
Yeah.
like
Mom,
me
you
with,
could be the poster child. Like, look, I'm friends with my 20, like they're
yes,
23 years old. I had triplets.
exactly.
We're great.
Yeah, because I was like, people ask like crazy questions. They're like, oh, like, oh, it's like the most common cringy one, but people are like, oh, what if like they don't want to give up the baby? And I'm
Oh
like, that is not
God,
a thing.
so tired of hearing that one.
I know
Like,
I hate that one. And
mhm.
it was like, I'm like, a lot of people even like ask their surrogate to like breastfeed the baby. Like this,
Yeah,
They
like
do.
the
exactly
colostrum.
like
They
Yep.
for the
do.
colostrum. I was like, this is actually quite common. Like people are not worried like at
Mm-mm.
all,
No,
actually.
and it's so funny because when you ask a surrogate, "Well, why do you want to do it again?" It's because of when the baby is like
There.
reunited. That's why you want to do it again. You're like, that's what I did it for. Let's sign up tomorrow for the second one. Like,
Right.
Exactly. Yes,
That's the
no.
I know
high.
people like signing up that have done it before and they're like, oh yeah, that like really touched me. Also, like one person was like, I like just was like, oh, like what's your greatest accomplishment for the profile? And she was like, oh, being a surrogate has been my greatest accomplishment. And she
Oh
was amazing. Like she had done so many things. She was literally training for a marathon, like
my
I just got home
God.
from a run, and like that was her greatest accomplishment. And I was like, I totally feel that because I was like, you've changed somebody's life
Right.
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
And like you've created like all this love and light in the world. And now there's this little family and this little person that can do like all kinds of incredible things in the world. Like you never know like what they're gonna do. Like they could like change the world. And it's all because like you were their surrogate and had them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Manifesting, manifesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody picks up the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. It'd be really good. I promise your ratings would just be like skyrocketing.
Oh my God.
Whoever wants to pick it up.
Yes. We're like really pitching this idea here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna hear what we have to say, and then they're gonna go off and they're gonna write the proposal, and then they're gonna go ahead and do the show. And it'd be like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, we had that
No,
idea.
this is documented, dated. Nice try.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I was like, so many people in San Francisco do surrogacy. I was like, people are in LA. So I was like, maybe it will be heard. And somebody
Yeah,
was like, yeah, we're producing
that's true.
this.
That is.
100%. It would be
Yeah.
really fun.
So in the beginning, and we can pull this out if you want us to, you had said you're paying your surrogate. Do you have a surrogate? Are you guys in a journey?
Not yet. So, okay. So not yet. We are still saving. I think this winter we'll probably be ready. Maybe. I'm like now having like I think like parent anxiety. Like I feel like a dad because I won't be pregnant. I feel like this pressure, like I need to go provide for this family. Like I feel
Oh,
like, man.
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
like, I need to go do this, but and like I feel that, and I'm just kind of like I was talking with my therapist about it, and I was like, oh, am I like a 30-year-old man now?
no,
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 no.
not at all.
You have so much insight, it's unreal. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
for
Yeah,
real. For not having gone through. See, I think that's
right.
what's fascinating and what I love about you a lot too. Like I love you for a lot of reasons, but having not even gone on like a full journey yourself, like with a surrogate, but like being here, being so intuitive with the whole community and in every corner of it, and like wanting to advocate for surrogates. It's just like, who are you? You're like a little
Yeah,
dream woman. Like,
yeah.
I think
A
I
little
like
diamond in the
yeah.
rough, you know?
I would thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like it's kind of like it's like a little bit of like a women's rights thing, kind of. I was like, I don't want to like like too like staunch about it, but I was like women being valued for like pregnancy when I feel like people have traditionally felt quite entitled to women's bodies in
Hmm.
pregnancy and not really valued it, but also like required it of women.
Yeah,
Is like, this is maybe like a reason that like maybe not as many women have been having kids and now everybody's upset that there's not enough kids. And
yeah.
like, if you value people for the work they do, maybe they'll be more inclined to do it.
Okay.
100% with every aspect in life.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where can people get you? We know it's the website. Give that a plug again.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The website is www.babybumps.us.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
so, yeah, you can see my little story on there and pictures of me and my husband. He's like my like helper on this.
Oh, so
And then like
sweet.
there's a link to apply. So you can like submit your resume and I'll get in touch.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
Awesome.
amazing. Thank you so much for coming back and
Yeah.
sharing with us, Victoria.
I'm
This
happy to do it. I love it.
Great. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
love
fun.
it.
I love
I
talking.
wish you all the luck. I just hope this explodes and you have to hire people. That's all I hope for.
I know. I was like, I'm like, my like goal is I'm like, oh my gosh, I think so many people are going to get more into this as time goes
Uh-huh.
on. And yeah, I think the industry will get so much bigger.
Yeah.
I think that and plus a TV show,
There you
just
go.
like
There you go.
That is like our dream. I totally would be so good though.
it's gonna
It would be
happen.
good. It would be good.
It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. I have like this like inner feeling that like someone out there, like
Gotta be the
an
right.
exec is gonna be like, I need
Yeah.
to do surrogacy, and then I don't know, hear
Maybe
about
make
it
a
and be
show
like,
about
let's
it.
do
Yeah.
it. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally think that I was like, I deep down think that like somebody at Netflix or somewhere like that or Hulu will be like, hey, like I did surrogacy, like or I needed a surrogate, and then be like, this can be a show.
Yep.
And so we'll see. And I'm like, you know what? I'm totally ready. Also, we're in Utah part-time. So like I'm already ready to like I can just film wherever they film. We're right here.
Right. Just
You know?
just pop up, just go to all the dirty soda shops.
Exactly.
Oh
I'm
my
like
God.
here part-time. I can go get that like swig soda and like get my coffee creamer and put it in my Diet Coke.
I'm loving it. I mean, I'm not loving the dirty soda aspect, but
Yeah.
I'm loving your commitment to this
Yeah.
dream. I'm loving this.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much for like having me on. I always
Of
love
course.
talking with you guys.
We appreciate it.
It's always fun talking to you. So
It
thank you
is.
so much. All
Yeah, of course.
You
right,
have a
well,
good
have
one.
a wonderful evening and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. All right, you guys take care. It was so fun
You
talking.
too. Nice
Thanks,
talking
you
to you.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow.
Wow. It's very cool.
It's very fun.
cool. I'm actually glad it morphed into this for
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
I think
It's a
this
safer
opens a
avenue.
lot more doors and like opportunities for like a lot of people.
Oh, ton of people. And I think
Yeah.
it's just safer for surrogates and intended parents in general. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm
And
saying? Yeah.
just more like in a controlled environment.
She's involved in
Yeah.
every step of it. That's huge because
Yeah.
she's such a prominent force that,
Yeah.
And you can't not talk to her and fall in love with her. Like, it's like, you talk to her and you're just like, oh, I want you to be my best friend. Like, yeah,
I know. BFF. BFF. I know.
No, it
Love
was great. Thank you so
No,
much.
this is
Victoria.
amazing. Thank you so much,
Lovely.
Victoria. This is amazing. I will have the website in the show notes so that if people are interested, go ahead. I mean, I know she'll also just talk to you if you have any questions rather than just like completely like going with her right away.
Right.
But yeah, so if anybody has any questions or stories they would like to share with us, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Stop.Sit.Surrogate, or you guys can email us at Stop.Sit.Surrogate@gmail.com.
It's been another edition of Stop Sit Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Also, check out the link to our YouTube channel in the description. And be sure to also check out our children's book, My Mom Has Superpowers, sold on Amazon and Etsy.